Oh,
All
wow.
right, so which one is Batman and which one is Robin?
Welcome to amorephillyunion, the podcast where up is down, day is night, and the union is undefeated on the road. We are your hosts. I'm C.
I'm E.
I'm Paul.
Yep, you heard it. Undefeated on the road in asterisk in regular league play.
We'll
Yeah,
take what we can
big
get.
asterisk.
We will take it. And lost the last four at home, so who knows? Anyway, we'll get into that. But before we do, always like to start with our Help Us Help the You challenge. E, I'll hand it off to you.
So in the Help Us Help You challenge, our quest, our goal to get 3,000 downloads this season, we are currently now at 2,390. That's an increase of 105 downloads since last week, that's another triple digit week. So guys, thanks everyone for tuning in and listening. We really appreciate it. And also our international brand continues to expand as we welcome our first listeners from Latvia. So welcome Latvia.
Latvia.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is.
Wow.
And as soon as we hit that 3,000 download, hopefully not too many weeks and months away, we'll be making a donation to the Philadelphia Union Foundation. If you want to show them some love, you can go ahead and make a donation to them as well. Just go to www.philadelphiaunionfoundation.org and click on that donate button.
Very cool. I wonder if they kept up like that, we'd be looking at it before Independence Day.
It's going to be close. I mean, if we keep getting 105 weeks and better, it's definitely doable, but it's going to be close. I also want to point out our interview last week with Rocco the Raccoon was our biggest download so far for the month of May. So we know what our fans like. So we'll have to bring this guy back. So
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, let's get there before July 4th if we could. That would be great because that's a very Philly-oriented holiday. Seems appropriate.
Very.
So let's get right into it. Spoiler alert, we won, guys.
Yay! Happy days are here again.
Right? So it was obviously Union New England at New England. I was going to try to make a Patriots joke, but I realized how very little football knowledge I have, so I'm just going to keep going. But starting lineup, we had Triangle of Death back again. Bedoya, Martinez, Flock, Wagner, Glesnes, Elliott, and Harriel with Semla in net.
I mean, except for Semla and Harriel, it was like a rollout to the very effective lineup from last year and the year before.
Yeah. Although questions onto how effective the lineup is exactly. I mean, I love this lineup, but I do remember one of the announcers saying something to the extent of, "This is a very familiar lineup." I mean, it obviously got the job done and then some. But I was glad to see. I was glad to see the Triangle of Death. Glad to see Bedoya starting. Glad to see Martinez back out there because I don't know what his fitness status is necessarily. So it's good to see him out there.
Absolutely. So we had a 3-0 victory, rather decisive. I know, right?
It feels good.
It does.
Be united and it feels so good.
Oh, boy.
Reunited with winning.
We've missed you. We've missed you so much.
Winning, let's stop fighting. Winning, we need you winning.
This reminds me of years ago when Taylor Twellman picked Lady in Red as his walk-on song, if he ever...
That's right. If he was ever a baseball pitcher.
If he was ever a baseball player, just because it would just throw people off so badly.
Imagine that the outfield wall opens and just Lady in Red starts cranking. Because I think he said something to the extent like the other team would have no idea what to think of it.
Yeah. It was less a pump up song and more of a total, WTF song.
Just a psyops psych out.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would be similar to like walking out to Rick Astley right now.
what would be a really like total head scratcher of a song to come out to? Like,
My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion.
there you go, right?
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
right. All by Myself, I think would be another good one. Guys, let's just scratch the game and let's just talk about
Let's just do this.
soundtracking games.
Well, we can't scratch it. I mean, this
No,
week.
no, no. This was too good a game. Just
Yeah,
No, I know,
we got to
I know.
go back. We got to go back.
Sure.
But it
Bring
is,
us in.
yeah. Let's keep that one for if there's, God forbid, another bad week. And we don't have a raccoon to interview. So getting right into it, very decisive moment early on, 14th minute. Red card to Spalding from New England for a denial of goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
Take it away,
I mean,
guys.
pretty
Any other
clear.
thoughts?
Pretty clear red card. Yeah, I mean, or any defender should know you put a pressure on an attacker that has position advantage on you. There's a very good chance they're going to go down. And Spalding just kept going at him, and Ora went down. It was pretty clear foul from behind, last defender. I don't even remember. Was there much even complaining other than just, come on, not a red card at this point?
No, just the usual, oh, ref, why me kind of stuff, but no.
Yeah.
But what was the actual physical exchange? Like, I know that they were both kind of...
He went through Ora's back. He pushed him from behind. Ora was ahead of him. If it was shoulder to shoulder, that's one thing. But this was to Ora's back, and Ora had position on him.
And watching the replay, there wasn't a, for me at least, there wasn't a really good view of it. Like, the camera was zoomed kind of far out when this started, and you could see Spalding maybe grabbing at a jersey, maybe pushing on the torso. But by the time the camera zoomed in close enough, for me at least, I couldn't clearly see it. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not complaining by any stretch, and it did go to it, the red cards do get evaluated, and I'm grateful that kind of allays most people's taking exception to the call. But for me, it wasn't totally clear. But when you're that last defender, you gotta play a completely clean game at that point, because you're walking that very narrow line,
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think it was kind of a Suarez that he did it on purpose? I mean, it was early on to do that, but sorry, there was that game years ago. I believe it was Suarez.
Yeah, it was World Cup.
Yeah, World Cup, where he got a red card because they would have lost otherwise. I think I don't remember all the details, but I know it was definitely a self-sacrificial thing. Do you think that it was an attempt at something like that, where it was maybe he thought, well, maybe I won't get caught, but I know this guy's very possibly going to score. So, I mean, it was early on to do that. It wasn't like
you
the
mean
89th
Spalding
minute.
was pulling something with a Suarez.
Correct. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure that just putting pressure on him wouldn't have stopped Ora, other than Ora is deceptively fast.
Yes.
And if Spalding hadn't grabbed him, I would bet that Ora would have outrun him. And then there would have been more than a step or two separation. So Ora could have gotten better control of the ball and taken a good shot.
Yeah.
Was this a professional red card? Maybe, but I don't think honestly, I thought Spalding had been playing pretty well up until that point. And definitely hurt the team. Definitely basically just changed the entire outlook for this game.
Yeah.
I felt it was a pretty clear red card for the Dog-So rules as they stand. And we've talked about rules plenty over this course of the season. But yeah, I think that this was clear and obvious, and they got it right according to the rules.
Yeah, I agree with that, Paul. I think it was Spalding was trying to play. I remember with the Suarez goal, it was 100% obvious he took that defender out in that game, and he could not have been the least bit surprised when he got that red card. It bought his team a chance to not give up a goal. The I don't think this was not that. I think Spalding did probably try to play as honest of a play the game as honestly as he could, but it resulted in him taking out Aura, and then the red card resulted.
I also remember, I think it was last season. I don't remember who the Union were playing, but Aura had a breakaway, and he got taken down by the second to last or by the last defender. Then he spun and he saw Carranza making a run, and he made the pass to Carranza, and then Carranza went up and he ended up not scoring. But there was a lot of debate afterwards. It's like, well, Aura got fouled on the play. It still should have resulted in a red card, but it didn't end up in a red card because Aura made a play with the ball and kept this goal scoring opportunity going.
Yeah.
So maybe Aura just kind of learned something from that and was like, well, screw it. I'm getting fouled. I know I'm getting fouled. It's obvious I'm getting fouled. I'm going down to get the red card. And then, either way, it was a really great play from Aura to jump on a bad exchange between the Revolution players and to punish them for it.
My only real disappointment with it was I enjoy watching Spalding play because it looks like a player from the Pele era has been AI'd into the game.
Yes.
And
what was that guy's name? What was his name? He had the crazy hair too.
Oh, I know who you're thinking of, and I can't remember his name.
What's his
either.
name?
Spalding have a mustache too.
Yep, he had a mustache.
I was going to say I remember him having a mustache there too. Yeah, definitely, I can see that.
Yeah, it was just, but I'll take it. It's fine. I'm not mad at it.
I'm trying to remember this guy's name. He played for like Colombia or Venezuela. Oh, what was his name?
He sort of had the big hair with blonde tips, if I remember correctly.
Or yes, like just insane, like curly mane of blondish hair. Oh God, what was his
Alexi
name?
Lawless? What?
Oh, I'm always here for an Alexi Lawless cut.
Well, he had the big red head.
It'll come back later.
It'll come to you when we are off the air.
Jonestown. You were in the sugarless line,
the sugar-free line.
And if anybody gets that reference besides Ian, I'm not even sure if Christy gets that reference, but if anybody,
I want to say Emo Phillips, but
now you ruined it.
Oh, dang.
Got it. But she nailed it.
Sorry.
She got it.
Well, there was a hot minute there where somebody might be able to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so that happened and very much, I think, changed the tenor of the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's not like it was only a few minutes in, not even a quarter of an hour.
14 minutes? Was that?
Yeah, 14 minutes. So, but the Revs haven't been having much of a season, if we're honest.
Which I'm really
and they didn't.
Surprised.
Yeah, really surprised. They do have a new coach for this season, Caleb Porter. So, might be settling into that, might be settling into a lot of things. There was dissension in the ranks over
Bruce
Arena's departure. Thank you. So I don't, who knows what's going on there. It could be a lot of things. They have a lot of good players. So, but I will say, they didn't, I wasn't feeling like a big threat from them early on. And this certainly didn't help. Although, like we always say, it can go, like so many things can go one of two ways when it's 10 players, right? Either fall apart or galvanize.
Yeah, the team did seem to, spark a little bit in that first half. The Reds did have a couple of decent shots, a couple of really, I know the highlights included at least one really good opportunity from them that they weren't able to put on frame.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Union got the first goal, but, just real quick, talking about the galvanization for Revs, they did come back, and Semla had a real nice save to keep it 1-0 before halftime.
Yeah.
But can we talk about that first goal? Union?
Just before we get there, I wanted to just quickly mention that Martinez was subbed out in the 28th minute, and I'm hoping that is not anything too serious. It looked just watching body language and gestures, it kind of looked like some sort of existing injury was aggravated because he kept gesturing to his chest. And even when he was walking
Yeah.
out, Curtin kind of pointed to his own chest and sort of said what seemed like, is it the
Is it the
whatever
thing?
ribs? I don't know, just kind of gesture at like it's that thing. And
Yeah.
Martinez nodded yes. So hopefully it's, just as they say, a bad knock. And he's back soon.
Did he take a shot off the chest?
It was a little
I can't
unclear.
remember.
I
No.
think I don't think he did directly, but I don't know if you remember if he kind of got bumped. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
he kind of got tangled up with somebody.
Yeah, it
and-
wasn't over. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, he took a ball to the chest or
Yeah.
somebody fully shouldered him or something. It wasn't.
And he may have been nursing some bruised ribs from a previous game or something like that. And those can be real tender, real sore. And I mean, heck, they can make breathing painful.
Oh, rib
and
stuff is
Christy,
terrible.
Christy can relate to that one.
Yeah. Lucky mine was on my back, so it wasn't nearly as bad, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, so they put McGlynn in, I
They
believe.
did,
They
yes.
shifted
McGlynn,
Flock
yeah.
So
to
we-
the defensive midfield position and McGlynn out left.
Which is an
Exactly.
interesting exchange. It's obviously not a 1-for-1. And because McGlynn reminds me a little bit of how Clint Dempsey would play. And I think that's one of the things I really loved about Clint Dempsey was he would just try stuff.
Yes.
And I feel like and we saw some of that in this game where McGlynn, he's not Martinez is a kind of a physical midfielder, right? He'll go toe to toe with players, and that's usually what results in some tempers being raised and stuff like that. But
and his obligatory yellow card.
Exactly. McGlynn tries stuff, and that we saw this in this game, and I think it's what contributed to that first goal as well.
Yeah, that first goal was just beautiful. The build up the left side, which Wagner finds McGlynn, and McGlynn ends up with like 10 yards of space, about 40 yards from goal, and he sees both Ura and Carranza making runs at the goal, and he makes this beautiful curling far post cross, and Carranza just gets inside of his defender and just powers home a header past the hapless Revolution keeper. I mean, that cross was just insane. Now,
I mean, I could have made the goal from my couch with that cross. Of course, I would have missed it though. But let's.
Well, I wouldn't have been able to make the run like Carranza, so that was just so well done, and obviously the goal doesn't happen without Carranza making the run, but the cross from McGlynn was just beautiful, and Wagner finding him that much space was just inspired. So it was really, really awesome build up, a really great cross, and then a powerful, confident header from a scorer that's in really good form. I think this was his 7th goal in 9 games or something like that for Carranza. He's hot when we need him to, and he wants to win.
Yeah, and that header too was a goalkeeper's nightmare because it was coming in fast. It was very close range, and it was headed down to the ground.
Yep.
And you can jump up as fast as you can, but you can only fall as fast as gravity will pull you. And and that shot was headed straight to the ground, and it was, and up to that point, I mean, the Union had several attempts, and it just really felt like it was only a matter of time before they got that goal.
So that took us into the half, up 1-0. Always good.
Always.
I was hoping it was going to be more than 1-0 at the half. But I was happy with the 1-0.
Look.
Yeah. I was happy with the red card. I'm happy being up 1-0. I'm just so a little shell shocked because part of me is like, okay, we're up a man, we're up a goal. We can't lose this game.
Well, I mean, I think you and I have definitely been sent back to the old days, right? We're only 4 up. So not so sure about this. And it was, I'd just like to comment too. I was just quickly looking at my notes. This was yet another miserable game.
Weather-wise.
weather-wise, because it was at least according to the folks at Apple, 54 degrees and absolutely spitting rain through this whole thing. So I mean, which just makes, I mean, like miserable, just absolutely miserable. I mean, I know they complain whatever, but
The only way it would have been worse if it was 40 degrees
I mean, yeah, but
no,
that's just,
and I mean that because like
yeah,
50 degrees is actually a really great temperature, but once you're wet like that for that long, it's pretty awful to have.
there's a tipping point where you cannot get away from the dampness. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously when it's
Yeah.
raining,
Oh.
that sounds like a silly thing to say, but there's a point where it gets into your bones and you can't shake it. And I think once you start hitting the 50s and 40s, you're in that zone.
Yes.
So
That's
for
where
sure.
it's like it's worse to be wet in 50s and 40s than it is to be snowing and 30.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, no,
I agree.
100%. Yeah, I would take that. I would take the snow any day of the week. So,
but I guess drying off at halftime, ignited something with the Union because it did not take them long to get that second goal. Was
absolutely. Yeah. So, 47th minute, Gazdag comes in, and also, always a dangerous time right before and right after.
That's right.
Kickoffs, stoppages, breaks, things like that. So, yeah,
it's like the say anything philosophy when it comes to flying. Anything always happens when the plane is either taking off or when it's landing. And I feel like the same thing in soccer halves. Things are always the most dangerous when either we're coming in from a half or we're starting a half.
But this time it was dangerous for the Union, which is a nice change of pace.
Yeah. We benefited. And I will say this too. I made in my notes. This second goal started with McGlynn doing a very Clint Dempsey thing with this cheeky little heel pass.
Back heel?
And it's
my God, that's confidence right there.
Yeah.
I love seeing that from an attacking player. Yeah, so he found, who was it that made the cross? Was it Wagner or was it Harriel? I think it might have been Harriel.
I think it might have been Harriel because I think he did the heel pass to Harriel, who was in transit at that time.
Yep, and then Harriel crossed it, and I think it was Aura who put it off the upright, which bounced across then to Gazdag on the far post. And somehow or another, Gazdag had that second to settle the ball and just bury it. So, I mean, I almost felt bad for the keeper. He's playing to his left, then he bounces to his right, and then Gazdag finishes back to his left. It's like, guys, I can't do it. Oh.
I can't be in three places all at the same time. Yeah.
That was fun, and the reaction, the response, the Union celebration was really cool. Of course, then it made me worried. All right, they're up by 2. Are
right?
The 2-0.
That was I actually got more worried after that because of course the whole 2-0 is hardest to defend. Everybody, we always say that.
Yeah, particularly against the Union, but not
against the Union.
Wasn't for the Union though.
Yeah. And then, I mean, just jumping right into it, putting the nail in the coffin, 80th minute. Gazdag again.
Yeah.
Thank heavens.
I
That
mean,
was when I started to breathe.
Yeah, it was basically a photocopy of the previous goal. Only I don't think that one went off the upright, if I remember right. It was some other save, but once again finds Gazdag in the box. The ball's bouncing around, and he manages to get a hold of it and power it home. Yeah, and it's like, wow. I mean, previous week he missed, his PK gets saved, and now he goes scores 2 in the run of play.
Maybe that's great day. Exactly. Maybe that's the change now for Gazdag. He's depleted his scoring goals in PK, so now he's got to go score his goals in the run of play.
Well, that was one of my favorite kinds of goals, especially when we score them. And my least favorite when someone else scores them. But when it's, because Sullivan actually had a shot that didn't work. I don't remember if it was off of a post or a person, but regardless, it didn't make it into the net. But Gazdag was there for the rebound. And I really appreciated that as, just recognizing that it was still in play, that it was still. I mean, hate it when it's on us, but boy, when we pull it off, it's nice to see.
Yeah.
So
So
just talking about Sullivan, he did sub in for Ora in the 67th minute. They made a double sub. Harriel came off for Mbaizo and Ora came off for Sullivan. So Sullivan and McGlynn did get to spend some time on the field in this game. And Sullivan continues to play very well.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of crazy to see the maturation of Quinn Sullivan, Nathan Harriel, and Jack McGlynn.
Hmm.
You know, people, there are certain parts of the union sphere who complain that the union didn't pick anybody up, but I don't know who they would have been able to transfer in that plays as well as any of those three. Maybe not as easy to see, but I really think that the union academy is proving its worth as we
Hmm.
see those three up. And even later on in the game, Jeremy Raffanello came in for Gazdag in the 89th minute. Now that's kind of more to see things out, but he's another Union Academy player that's you know, finding some actual time on the field. It's pretty
Yeah.
exciting.
And I know too, we've talked about McGlynn just starting to get a little overshadowed by
A little bit.
Sullivan this season because Sullivan's been very productive out in the field with respect to getting goals. But I think this game highlights a possible new path for McGlynn. And that is, again, he's in that midfield and he's just trying those odd
Back heels.
back heels, these long range shots, he's just trying stuff. It's
He's exciting to watch. You never quite know what he's going to see and what he's going to do.
he's
And the
he's
thing
a
is, like, what he sees is like second level above the normal soccer players. And his ability, then he's able to make those passes. He's able to take those shots. And that left foot of his, I mean, yeah, I
yeah,
know we joked about it being
yeah,
called cultured by certain people in the media, but it's really, really
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get always see like Curtin just being like, "Hey, just go out there and just try shit." I could just
Hmm?
just like and like
Yeah.
the team knows that McGlynn might try something, whereas the other team, again, it's that whole 13th warrior. They have to now account for what they can't see,
Yep.
and you don't know what's going to come out of him. Like Aura, he's going to make the runs. Gazdag, he's going to be very smart, very and Carranzo, very smart, very opportunistic. They're going to make that run. McGlynn, who knows? Pick a card, any card. Let's see what comes out. So
What's that saying? The first place poker player in the world doesn't fear the second place poker player in the world. They fear the 300th and first poker player in the world because they have no idea what
yeah,
they're going to do.
yeah, yeah,
And you know, sometimes that's the case
yeah,
because McGlynn, but he's got the capability, he's got the
yeah, yeah,
skill to whatever he thinks to try, he's able to do
yeah.
with a high level of efficiency.
I mean, I liked seeing Jack McGlynn score. I like seeing them all score, but
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed though him in that midfield, the back heel passes, these amazing crosses. He's playing like, actually, no, it kind of reminds me of, and I don't want to put too much on his young shoulders. Zidane. That's one of the reasons I like
Yes.
Zidane. He would make these sublime passes, right? These no look, whatever, heel passes, all this stuff. Such a good orchestrating midfielder, just feeding those forwards, creating opportunities for those forwards. And, no pressure, Jack McGlynn, but if you want to bring that to the team, I happily welcome it. So
And I also really like his interactions with the rest of the team,
yeah.
whether he's combining with Wagner or Gazdag or Carranza and Ura up top, or even working with Martinez in that
Hmm.
defensive midfield position. Like he seems the team responds well to him. You
Yeah.
know, we talked
Yeah.
about, you know, he's kind of learned from Gazdag and Bedoya, kind of
Hmm.
this understated, confident level of
Hmm.
play.
Hmm.
And like I think the team really responds to him.
Yeah.
And you know, I know Curtin actually talked about him a little bit in his press conference about talking about how Jack could go and play with you know, pretty much any sort of an attacking in any sort of league that really favors attack-minded soccer.
Yeah.
He'd be very successful at. And, you know, in particular, he mentioned PSG, which would be pretty phenomenal if he were to get a transfer to a team like that and an opportunity to play at a high
Hmm.
level. I think he could certainly,
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't watch enough of Ligue 1 to know exactly, but I mean, yeah, it'd be great to see him going up against some international level competition. And
Yeah.
man, I'm gonna enjoy watching Jack McGlynn in the Philadelphia Union jersey for as long as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, when we were writing our notes for this episode, I didn't realize it was going to turn into such a love fest for Jack McGlynn, but you know what? It's deserved.
Which is crazy because he didn't even score the goals in this game.
No.
It was Gazdag and Carranza,
Gazdag.
who also looked really,
Yes.
really good. I mean,
Yeah.
we mentioned last week that Carranza has gotten called up for Hungary for the Euros, and
You mean
Gazdag.
Gazdag? Sorry.
sorry, what I say Carranza.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Gazdag
That would be news.
This breaking right now.
So good. They called him up for Hungary.
And apparently Hungary's got Germany in their group, and I forget the other team that's kind of favored to come out of that group. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a busy summer for Gazdag, and obviously we're going to be losing McGlynn and Harriel to the Olympics at some point. So kind of excited to see who's behind them, in the depth chart and see what they can do.
Absolutely. Not to. Oh boy, not to derail the love fest, but I do have a question for you guys. So, on paper, this is a game we should have won.
Oh yes.
And then there was also a red card, an early red card. So they were down to 10, which, as we have said, even in this very episode, can go two ways. So it doesn't necessarily guarantee anything.
Yep.
But do you think that might have
been
no? Okay.
Nope. Yeah,
you have the
I'm
floor.
sorry, what is the question? I'm not.
The question is basically like,
did it fix it? Did it fix it? No, it did not fix it.
Right. Oh no, that wasn't actually where. Well, I was going to say, does that kind of detract? Does that put
from this win?
As you know, I like to say
an
asterisk on this.
No.
Well, I think.
I mean, a win is a win.
Yeah.
I think
that said,
I think what this red card did was it allowed our guys to relax and believe and be confident. You're going to win this. Like they should have won it on paper, right? I think we'd all agree on that one. And I think getting that red card, it was kind of like, okay, now we better win this. It wasn't a foregone conclusion. New England Revolution, with their players and their coach, Caleb Porter, you can never count them out. So for me, this win is a win. It was like getting a pep talk before you go in and take that test or whatever. Like, all right, now you're feeling pretty motivated. So I think this was still a win.
I agree. I mean, you got to play the game, and this is the way the game turned out, and a win's a win. I thought you were going, does this put the Union's woes of the four home losses behind?
No.
And that's why I was saying, no, it does not fix it.
No.
I definitely think that the combination of Glesnes and Elliott that's the combination center backs that I think the Union should be rolling out most weeks. Damian Lowe definitely deserves his opportunities, and if Ernst Tanner can turn a transfer for Lowe into some other help somewhere else on the field, I think that would be great. I'm not encouraging anybody. I mean, I don't want to lose Damian Lowe. He's certainly a good player, and he's a great backup, and I certainly think he deserves some playing time. But I just think this team plays better with Glesnes and Elliott in that center defense, and I think they're starting to really gel with Semla. And I think they did a good job. I mean, obviously playing against 10 takes some pressure off of the defense. I think they're going to need to continue for the next few weeks to continue to show that chemistry is building between that defense. But if they can hold another shutout or two, I think we might be looking at a fix.
Two things. One, also kudos to Zemla. He had at least two really clutch saves in this game.
Yes, he did.
Which, should New England have gotten those shots off? Well, that's a question for the defenders to answer. But Zemla did make some Blake-esque saves in this game.
Yeah, the two that I'm remembering, one was right before halftime, and then the second one was right before the full time.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Those are the two you're
Um,
thinking of as well.
Yeah, because I had a note here about the stoppage times save that Zemla did at the end of the game, which
Yep.
was clutch
Yeah.
because that was, that he almost collided with the attacker from New England, and the ball, ball was deflected out and all that. But going back to Glesnes and Elliott, actually in particular Elliott, there were a couple defensive entanglements that Elliott was involved in, where he's basically mugging his guy he was covering. Like he was like giving a bear hug from behind. And I know he got called out on one of them for, I don't know if he got a card or it was just a foul, but I was like, dude, we just saw what happened in the 14th minute with New England, what's his name, Spalding getting the red card. Like,
Yeah.
Jack,
Elliott did not get a card in this game.
it was a little worrisome, like just easy, easy, easy. I appreciate the spirit, I appreciate the hustle, but you're walking a very thin line there. You're gonna get caught one of these times. But you did.
Oh, Elliot and Martinez. I've said this before. Elliot and Martinez are much closer in yellow cards. I haven't looked at the numbers, guys. So
Yeah,
you
no,
check me on
You're
it.
absolutely right. I remember
But-
you mentioning that once before,
Yeah.
and I did take a look through some others, and you're absolutely right. Elliott
Yeah.
does get more yellow
Yeah.
cards than I remember.
Uh-huh.
Like Glesnes getting a yellow card would be like a what? Like Elliott getting a
Yeah.
yellow card, and you're like, not again.
Because there's
Martinez
not
getting
the
a card
hot-headed
is-
kind of theatrics around it. I don't mean theatrics, but like sort of the excitement around it when Martinez does it. You can tell he's usually emotional, or something has happened, or there's been a big collision or
Or
something,
today ending in Y.
or that. Yeah, with Elliott, he just gets them, and almost, they, for whatever reason, whether it's the coverage, whether it's, I don't know, you just they don't register in the same way as they do when Martinez gets them, and I still submit that Martinez does not get as many as he once did.
I agree with both of those parts. One,
Yeah.
the Martinez has definitely learned the line he can ride in MLS
Yeah,
with
I agree.
most of the referees, and he knows when he goes over it. I think the part that you mentioned about Jack, us not knowing it, is because he doesn't do the post foul hullabaloo
Yeah,
that happens.
that's probably it. Yeah, that's
Because
what I was
he
trying to get at.
knows he knows he needs to get back and get into position because
Yeah.
he's the center back and he can't get in the referee's face because they're going to replay it and he's going to be out of position. So he needs to get back.
Yeah.
Unless the referee is calling him over that he needs to talk to him before giving him the yellow card. Yeah, I think that's really why we don't notice the Elliott cards. He doesn't get as many as Martinez, but he's probably, I would say, probably second or third on the team, maybe behind Wagner for yellow cards.
Yeah, he's a lot
Or
closer than
Carranza
you
this
would
year.
expect. That's yeah, and I think that's a really good point about it being a function of the position he plays.
Yep.
More so than anything, but yeah.
I am looking up the numbers right now. Let's see here. Yellow cards, player stats.
And here's where we play the Jeopardy theme.
So for the 2024 regular season, this cannot be right, but it says it is. Who currently has the most yellow cards for the Union?
Carranza.
Christy, you want to venture a guess?
Sorry, just laughing at whatever I was doing.
Like doing some like moment shots kind of thing there. Ball.
Oh, I appreciate the moment chance reference. Hold on, let me think about this. Hold on, I might try to get this right.
So most yellow cards so far for the team. Now, I don't know if this also includes like any clearing out of yellow cards, but this is regular season yellow cards.
Harriel?
The answer is Carranza has
Really?
5 yellow cards.
That doesn't sound right.
Next, I'll just go down the list unless you guys want to guess.
I think Martinez has second most and then Wagner.
Second most is Damian Lowe with 4.
Oh, okay. Actually, I would buy that. 100%.
Tied with
You're right.
Martinez, who also has 4.
Okay.
But then guess who comes in the next spot?
Elliott?
It's Jack Elliott with 3. And
That's
guess who
right.
comes after Elliott?
Wagner.
No, Wagner's
Bedoya?
been very quiet. Bedoya, our captain, with 2 yellow cards. Same with Gazdag. Actually,
He's
there's
our
a whole
captain.
list of people So
I gotta wonder if that means that that's been updated with yellow cards that have gone away. Because I feel like the
yeah,
first couple of games of the season,
yeah.
Wagner earned quite a few yellow cards
Yeah, I
for
think these are regular season yellow cards, accumulated. I think a lot of them have been, it's like,
wipes.
getting points removed off your license, right? Given enough
Yeah.
time of good behavior, you get to remove it. But basically, Bedoya, Gazdag, Harriel, Sullivan, Ora, Wagner all have 2 yellow cards.
Okay.
Flock, Glesnes, McGlynn, and Zemla all have 1 yellow card.
Which is impressive since Flock's only played like 3 games this season.
Yeah, he's another one though. He goes out there all guns blazing,
Well, Curtin actually talked about him in the post-game press conference about how the closing speed that
Uh-huh.
Flock has. Curtin actually said he probably has the fastest closing speed of any player he's ever seen, or something along those lines. And
Oh, yeah.
and you could see that, like, Carlos Gil is by far the most dangerous player on Revolution, and anytime he was close to getting the ball, Flock was in his face instantly.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely, it was very clear that Flock, when he took over that defensive midfield position, was told, you will not let Gil get on that ball and have any time to turn, but that you can't stop. Yeah, you can't, anything, anything you
Yeah.
do to reduce that time is what you do.
Yeah.
I would say Gil was pretty well frustrated in this game because of his play.
Yeah. Further supporting some of our opinions here in terms of assists. Now, these are assists, I think, that actually resulted in goals. 3 people hold the most assists here, and it's Wagner, which I think that tracks. Sullivan, I'm a little surprised on. That he would be tied for first here for the number of assists. But the other one, Jack McGlynn. He's quietly working in the background, I think.
I would say those are 3 of the most creative attacking players on the team.
Yeah. And then in terms of attacking assists, I think these are assisted passes that lead to some sort of attacking
Shooting
opportunity, right? Wagner's has the most with 37. Second place, Jack McGlynn with 21.
Wow.
So interesting. Yeah, we'll have to keep track of see how this plays out. But McGlynn's becoming our little Zidane.
I'm sure he would not mind the comparison.
Uh-huh.
Other than he'd be like, who's Zidane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully a little less headbutting as well.
Well, with that, we are now in 8th place with 4 wins, 4 losses, and 5
We're at
draws.
500.
Ooh, yeah.
So
actually, Christy, your
take
question about does this make amends? It's a step in the right direction.
right.
We definitely need to stop the bleeding, and at this stop the bleeding. Hopefully, when we go up against Charlotte next, that we start to heal and keep undoing the damage.
Interesting, just to totally wrap up this game. Apparently, one of the things, I'm sure one of many things that Jim Curtin told them before they went out on this to play this match was, we do best when we are having fun. And so try to go out there and have as much fun as you can. I think that was a way of cutting the tension that's no doubt there from having lost so many games in a row. So obviously there's that, but I think he's probably right. I mean, and what's more fun than winning? So, I'm glad they were able to get up early and kind of give themselves license to have a little bit of fun. As much as you can when you're doing this professionally.
I imagine the comeback you got to get that win to start the comeback, and as soon as we get that win under our belt, we can start the comeback. Sorry, Paul.
We just have to start winning at home, which is just so strange to say.
Talking about having fun out there, it was. I actually rewound the goal celebration from Carranza when he scored. He did this little, I don't know if it's a TikTok dance or some dance that a lot of the kids, a lot of boys are doing these days. And Nate wanted to watch that a couple of times because he found that just hysterical to see Carranza out there dancing like that. But seeing him dancing, seeing Gazdag smiling, seeing Aura getting excited,
it's like relief.
It was very
I think so.
a Neo moment.
Yeah. And what is the name of this dance? I heard something about this
Gritty with two D's instead of two T's. So not named after our beloved NHL mascot.
dance. The gritty.
Gritty, yes.
Right.
So we are being olds right now by breaking this. We are, I think.
These kids with their rock and roll music.
Definitely an I had Jello today moment, but yeah, so not something we recognized in the moment, but our nephew Nate did, Paul's son Nate did, same person, by the way, just in case that was unclear. So that's good. But okay, so coming out of this, Gazdag was named to team of the match day. Please tell me he wasn't on the bench. Please tell me he wasn't on the bench. Oh, thank God. Yeah. Oh, Lord. We finally got past the bench. Yay!
Yeah. 2 goals you hope would get you off the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And also, Gazdag and Carranza setting a new MLS record by scoring in the same match together the most times, 16 times now. That surpasses a previous record set by Sebastian Giovinco and Josie Altidore at Toronto FC.
Oh,
All
wow.
right, so which one is Batman and which one is Robin? They're the dynamic duo. I mean, obviously, I gotta assume that Carranza, being, has to, since he's got the looks, he's got to pass off as being the dashing playboy, debonair playboy like Bruce Wayne, and then Carranza or Gazdag is his trusty ward.
I would go the other way. I think
Okay.
because Batman's got to be a little bit little grittier. I don't know. I just don't see Carranza as having that whole I am justice. I could see that coming more from Gazdag, but
True. Where is she?
Should we go with Wonder Twins instead, so then we don't really have to pick?
Good luck digging out of that one, Christy. I well and truly derailed that story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was kind of it. It is a bit of one of those baseball stats that we've been talking about. But it's a fun one, and we'll take it. I'm not mad at it. So that's great, especially with Giovinco and Altidore.
Yeah, they were very prolific. I remember
absolutely.
I remember a couple of years ago it was just. I remember doing the fantasy league. It's just put Giovinco on my team. And then when I can afford it, I'm throwing Altidore in there as well.
Yeah.
They were very prolific goal scorers. So, all right. That's it. I mean, hey, that's a good, it's weird. It's kind of like we have all these stats that are very positive for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I feel like we are a little bit in a low point. Hopefully not for long. I feel like we have the momentum to get out of it. But it's just this weird dichotomy of some really good numbers and some really not good numbers.
Well, I was going to even say, the fact that they're scoring in the same games, it still reinforces that the Union's offense has been decent this season. And, they're still scoring goals.
Yeah.
Problem has been that the goals they've been giving up.
Yeah. Which is weird because that was one of the things we really had locked down was our defense.
We thought we did.
And we got to talk to those guys.
Well, and in other news, Donovan named the MLS next team of the match day for scoring 2 for a Philadelphia Union 2.
Nice.
Go Dragons!
Go Dragons.
Roar. I don't know. It's like, what do they do in Harry Potter? I'm guessing it's something like that.
We'll punch it up in post. It's fine.
And I have to give Drexel her time because I'm legally required to do that.
That's okay. We'll just cry ourselves to sleep with 2 goals this week. Good job, Donovan.
Yeah, you got those 2 goals to keep you company.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably lay off. Paul's outnumbered on this podcast.
Oh,
so.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, he knew what he was signing up for.
I'd just like to point out that I didn't say it this time. So
it's okay. My dragon would eat your mountain hawks.
Absolutely would.
Hawks.
And your engineer. Sorry.
Okay, now we're gonna come to blows.
And nothing confirmed yet, but at the very strong rumor stage, coming from 2 reliable, if sort of unofficial channels, Jose Roberto Nunez on Twitter and We the Union on Instagram. Looks like there is a new contract coming for Blake. So that is excellent news.
Yeah.
I don't know that we were fully aware that that was part of the issue. I mean, we've talked last week and other weeks about Blake possibly being dissatisfied with some things.
Yeah.
So nobody really knows the deal. There apparently that he was a sure thing through 2024 with like I guess a possibility for 2025. It sounds like what they're thinking now is sure thing through 2025 with possibility for 2026. But nobody knows. Nobody will know till it's announced. But that's what's kind of being guessed at, I guess, at this point. But like I said, two pretty reliable, if unofficial, sources are coming out with that in the last few hours. So,
and Jose Roberto Nunez credits Tom Bogert of the Atlantic,
right,
with the information.
Yeah,
and for
I'm sorry, the Atlantic or the Athletic?
The Athletic. Sorry,
okay,
the Athletic,
slightly different.
Yeah. Apologies. Tom Bogert of the Athletic, who is pretty well known in MLS circles for having some amazing sources. So hopefully all three of them are correct, and that this hopefully will help further secure the Union's defense. Maybe this will be the key to continuing defensive resurgence for the season, to get Blake back there. I like that one. What was that one post that you called out? He was responding to this something about what does this mean for Blake's knee this weekend?
It was so the comment is from Seba Ladupe on Twitter.
That's a great name. That's a great name.
But Blake's knee gonna be 100% healthy this weekend now, with a winky face and a laughing, crying face. So, so I think that explains a lot. We've been talking about the knee. Hopefully, the knee isn't as serious as we thought, and this is really what's been going on in the background. It does, it bear a certain resemblance to when Bedoya's contract was uncertain, so hopefully the injury stuff doesn't hold him back, and that it's been mostly contract negotiations that have been keeping him out of things. So looking forward to his return whenever that is, for sure.
It feels like
congratulations to Andre.
Yes,
absolutely.
Unofficial, right? But yeah,
unofficial congratulations. Unofficial congratulations to all of us, and as we breathe a sigh of relief that it looks like we're hanging on to Blake for a little bit more. A quick aside here, We the Union is a Instagram account. It's We the Union with two N's at the end of Union. They kind of put up their thoughts and predictions before the matches, after the matches, their reactions. It's really just some really just slides with thoughts and an invitation to start a conversation. It's I've not really seen anything like it before, but I think it's really well done. There's a lot of thought that goes into it, so I might want to check them out if you're an Instagram user. So and thanks to them for reaching out and saying hello to us.
So I was, with respect to figuring out what's going on behind closed doors and trying to divine what possible future could be in store for players. I remember when we got Bedoya to do the cameo for our Christmas episode, and he made a comment about hopefully things are going to work out, and kind of alluding towards being back with the team for the new season, and that came kind of came down to the wire, but it did pan out. So I feel like maybe that's a good journalistic tool, right? You're trying to figure out what's going on in terms of, a player's status with the team or their contract. Well, request a cameo from them and see what they say. Maybe that'll give us an inkling of what could be coming down the pike.
I think few would be as forthright as Bedoya, or if
Yeah.
Curtin did them, which I don't think he does. But
Yeah.
but who knows? You never
Yeah.
know what's on their minds. So
This is
okay.
good news. This is good news.
This
We
is
will.
great news. Yeah.
This is
No.
great.
Yeah. Sorry. This is great news. Absolutely.
I do wonder if that means that, Blake's going to spend his whole career here for Philadelphia, which
Yeah,
would
right.
be astounding.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Would be remarkable if that could happen. So
Thanks, Andre.
Yeah.
yeah, really.
Yeah.
Tifo time.
No regrets when we signed him, #1 draft pick. I mean,
Yeah.
at first it was a little bit of a head scratcher, like, oh, that's a little different, and haven't regretted it since.
That's right.
No, and from with respect, some of them have improved greatly. I'm looking at you, Chris Seitz, but
Sure.
And McMath.
and McMath, absolutely. Well, he was pretty good when we had him, but I mean, it was definitely a hole that we needed filled for a while, except for maybe while we had McMath. And I'm sure I'm forgetting someone who did well, but
Mondragon was good, but he was only here for a season.
hottest of minutes.
Kind of near the end of his career too.
Yeah. So
I mean, it is interesting that when all of that hullabaloo happened, and once again, go ahead and mark that off on bingo. I'm not sure if that's one that I use regularly, but I've used it at least twice so far tonight. But both McMath and Blake are still playing in this league.
Yeah.
So very quality keepers that came out of the Union back then, and hopefully continue, to develop good quality players.
Yeah.
I mean, like Freeze is playing for NYCFC.
Yeah, that's right.
McCarthy's still bouncing around. I think Seitz
yeah.
might even still be bouncing around too.
He's with one of the LA teams.
he was with LAFC when they won.
But I think he's with the Galaxy now.
I think he is. I think you're right.
Which is out of the frying pan and into another frying pan.
And getting hit with the first frying pan. But thanks, Andre.
Yeah, thank you, Andre.
Yep. He needs a tifo. Get on it, guys. So upcoming Union games. We have 2 in the next week or so.
8 days.
Yeah, they're really stacking them
as we record. So Union at Charlotte on Saturday at 7:30. With Charlotte currently in 6th place in the Eastern Conference.
Yep.
Not an on paper we should win situation necessarily.
Yeah.
Not on paper we should lose situation either, but just kind of down the middle on that one. We'll see how it goes. And then Toronto at Philly on Wednesday the 29th, also at 7:30. Toronto is currently in 5th place in the Eastern Conference. And probably mad that we ruined their Altidore Giovinco record. So
they're gonna want some revenge.
Yeah. So
the Union are currently in 8th now. So these are both teams that are ahead of us in the table. So winning would be great. Certainly advance, get us closer or get us past them, which would be a great stride for the Union. And there's been a lot of talk about Toronto recently with John Herdman taking over that team. He seems to have gotten a lot of the players to buy into what he's trying to do up there in Toronto. And Toronto was not expected to be much of anything this year. And now they're sitting in 5th place, and they've been playing some pretty good soccer recently. Yeah. So these could be real challenges for the Union. Obviously going away is always a challenge. Coming home, unfortunately, has been a challenge for the Union this year. So we'll have to see what they can get out of these games.
Yeah, in quick succession, too.
Yeah. Hopefully we can keep our undefeated away streak going with Charlotte, too.
And start a home one.
A home one. Yeah. Keep one going and start a new one.
Do we have anything else this week, guys?
There was a release from the Players Association with all of the published salary figures for all of the players and all the teams.
Oh, wow.
There's been a number of articles discussing the breakdown in there and where, the Union stack up compared to other teams. And we're in the mix. We're not high up. We're not at the bottom either. So there's certainly some interesting payment, who's getting paid what, as far as how are they contributing to the team. But it will be interesting to see what Blake's new contract adjusts for his. Just a bit of love for Bedoya. He took like a 50% pay cut from where he was to last year to this year. I mean, obviously he didn't have a contract going into this year. So when I say 50%, he went from like $900,000 to $450,000, which it's significant for a professional sports, a professional athlete. For those of us who don't make that sort of money, we kind of wonder about that. But same point, Bedoya is arguably one of the best players for the Union so far this team in this season. And, just goes to show that contracts, they're important, and sometimes bringing in players that play hard is like Bedoya does. You get your money's worth. Yeah, I'm glad they were able to make that happen.
That is really remarkable, and especially in a league where, I mean, looking at those numbers compared to like NFL numbers.
Yeah.
It's just, it does actually, I mean, we don't make that kind of money, but it does make a difference in a way that it doesn't for someone who's making millions upon millions, maybe has to give up their boat. So, I don't know. It's I didn't see that, and that's really remarkable. And I love Allie. I say that every podcast.
Well, I think the other thing too, right? We talked about this all the way in the preseason. I think one of Allie's responsibility now with the team is to help out in other areas as well. And I wonder if there's compensation that's included with that. That's not included as part of his player salary. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Bedoya to be like, I'll cut my salary in half. I want to keep playing. I could totally see him doing that. But remember, there's like, he's got to do more front office stuff. And so I'm guessing there might be some compensation in there as well.
So not reportable or necessary to report compensation.
It's not part of the players union.
Right.
Stuff that doesn't count towards the salary cap or anything like that. That's possible.
Yeah. Excellent point. Yeah.
It was interesting too, because I think like even Messi made like $16 million, which is not as much as some of the NFL players make. Obviously, somebody like Messi and Busquets, while they might make $8 million in salary or $16 million in salary, also have other contracts that get them additional money for sure. But just like you were saying, Christy, the values or the payments that are going out to these players are significantly different than even NBA players make $20 million, $30 million a year, and baseball players making the top of the top baseball players in the MLB are making $30 million a year or something like that. They're playing a heck of a lot of games, don't get me wrong, but the pay difference is still there. But
I mean, almost any other league really besides MLS, I would think.
But yes, so you can certainly do a quick find some pretty neat breakdowns of the Union and where they stand. I'll see if I can't dig up a couple of links for some of those, and maybe we can put them out there on social media.
Okay, well, I think that's it for this week. So just to sign us off, our website is amorephillyunion.com. Email pod@amorephillyunion.com. On Instagram, YouTube, and Threads, we are amorephillyunion. On Twitter, we are amorephillyu. We also have a Spotify. We started our own streaming service. It's called Spotify. It's because we think it's cooler than Spotify. No, we have a Spotify playlist. Also under Amorephilly Union, but it's under playlist. You guys can find it. It has a slightly different graphic. You'll figure it out. It's very cool and very random. But check us out there and get our podcast. Obviously, wherever you get yours. If you're listening, you probably already have done that. But we're everywhere. We're even on Apple. Apple, despite all the things we've said about Apple over the year and a half or so we've been doing this, they let us on. So thanks to everyone for tuning in for another episode of Amorephilly Union. We are your hosts. I'm C.
I'm E.
And I'm Paul.
He's going 8 Mile or whatever it
8
is.
Mile.
Do,
Mhm.
do, 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 do,
Either
do,
that or
do,
Evil
do.
Kermit.
You had
Yeah,
one shot.
Maybe more like, my name is Paul, and I'm here to say.
Yo.